Hey everyone, welcome to our Black Friday live stream. I'm Nick.
I'm Zach.
And yeah, welcome to Whole Latte Love. We've got a lot of really cool content that's going to be coming at you throughout the day. We've got you live in the comments down there. So I see we've already got a few people returning from our previous live stream series. So Persepolis, we see you down there. Great to have you back. We've got a lot of cool stuff planned today, but for starters, we wanted to talk a little bit about what's new here at Whole Latte Love, just in time for the holiday season, right, Zach?
Yeah, so I feel like we have a couple things that we really wanted to shout out towards the end of the year. As this year comes to a close, we have some really cool things here.
That's right.
Especially going into the next year, including a little shout out that you'll actually see more of next year in Ranchillo.
That's right, yes. So lots of fun stuff both on the product side of things, but also we're going to be taking a look at a little refresh that we did recently for the website. So if you're on our website, which I feel like you very well could be today, if you're watching on Black Friday, you'll notice that we've done a little bit of an update. We have a bit of a facelift. So I'll be giving you a little guided tour there. And then, of course, we've got some new products, new versions of products, custom accessories and different parts and components that we have here at Whole Latte Love. So we'll be kind of getting into all of that. And so just to remind you all, if you are watching during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, any of the promos or free items that we might be mentioning here are going to be limited time only for this stream. So if you come back and watch after the fact, you may have missed out on some killer deals. So definitely take a look at our sales page for more information on that. But anyway, yeah, Zach, let's get started. So Mike, you want to take us back actually to the new website for a moment there. And I'll tell you what, go over to my screen. I've got that on remote control because I just want to show off. We have done a little bit of a refresh on the website. We've got some new colors. We've got an update to the logo. So our L's in Whole Latte Love are now capitalized as well. Probably the first things that you're noticing. But, you know, some of the stuff that you probably haven't noticed, or maybe it's just been a nice subtle surprise for you, has been some of the updates that we've made actually to our collections and also to our search. So yeah, if you guys want to pull us right over to my screen now.
We're having a slight issue.
Just a quick technical issue there. But basically, I want to cover some of the updates and improvements that we've made and sort of what you can expect as well. So a lot of what we're going to be talking about today is our best in the industry customization options that we have. There's a lot of hard work that goes into that for us delivering basically what I'd say are the most compelling versions of products. We've got our product photographer, Grace, behind the scenes getting some shots of us, but a little shout out to her. She definitely makes those customizations happen, and our friends at Vitamin Manufacture as well, and of course Jesse Salzman, who has worked with them to get us some of these really cool things. So actually, while they're working on some of the technical stuff, let's actually talk just a little bit about what we have right in front of us, Zach.
Yeah, so these are actually some of the original designs that Jesse went through and kind of hand sculpted a lot of them first.
Designs of what?
So these are our new flow paddles. So
that's right.
These are the earlier productions of them, and we really kind of just kept printing out different kinds of formats of this so we can really get the perfect feeling and touch and control in flow. If you've used flow control before, it used to be this little ball.
Yes.
And there was not too much control or feel to those, and we wanted to make something a little bit more tactical feeling for that. So as you can see, we kind of started off with this sort of block style. Again, getting a lot of inspiration from kind of sports cars. It's very sleek design.
Yes.
And also the curvature of the machine in general, because a lot of us are kind of going for that flow control to also match the style of our machine in general.
That's right. And so we'll take a closer look at some of those paddles on some of our machines. We've got the Apartmento TCA behind us and the ECM Mechanica Max. Two exclusive colors, actually. We've got the white housing on our TCA, which we'll get into in just a bit, and the matte black for our Mechanica Max. So if you want to go back to those paddles, though, guys, the original flow control, as Zach was mentioning, has a sort of ball design. Now, the idea here was to keep it as small as possible. So obviously, the Lilite Bianca came out with the flow control paddle, right? And that was kind of the paddle that launched 1,000 ships, let's say. And basically, everyone was really interested in flow control. But the problem was it was very big, and when you would rotate it, it would limit the range of motion because it would actually collide with the front panel on the machine. So obviously, ECM Profitec comes along. They make a very small paddle, or ball, actually, like this. That's the whole point behind the design, is to make sure that it can rotate fully. But then, as you were saying, Zach, this ball, while it works, is really not as ergonomic as the paddle that we've made. And so with the design, you can either pinch it with your fingers or just use one finger to rotate it fully. And that's something that we've done to really improve the overall just use case, because when you limit the range of motion on the flow control, ultimately you're not able to achieve the full, utility of the device, right? So you can't get those super low pre-infusions, but then also the really high flow if you wanted to mimic like a lever style extraction, for example.
Correct. And at first, maybe when we were looking at flow control, we didn't see the specific benefits of having full 360 control, but now that we're actually finding a lot of cooler, funkier, more distinct coffees, I feel like having that full control of your shot and being able to do kind of like soupier shots and all of these newer trends, you can actually utilize all that control.
Flow control with full control.
Full flow control. I can't even say that.
And how are we doing, guys? Are we ready to do a little picture-in-picture? All right, so let's go on ahead and take a look at the new Rocket Espresso Apartmento TCA that we've got behind us. So this is our exclusive color. This is our white housing, matte white. We have it right now available with a copper plate insert and then the copper Rocket Espresso badge on the back. This is the Vitamin Walnut wood accenting, and of course the flow paddle. Now the TCA, if you aren't familiar with it and need just a little bit of a refresher, this is an update to Rocket's Apartmento. This was released actually almost 2 years ago now, and it was sort of the first step that Rocket took in terms of modernizing the performance features and also the aesthetics of their machines. And so this TCA is actually a really nice teaser for what we're going to be talking about in some later streams, and that we've teased in some of our upcoming videos, which is the new Rocket Espresso Fast machines.
And if those of you out there were concerned about if this can still make that full 360, not being a ball before, would you look at that?
Yeah, it does. 100% can. So some of the magic actually too is in the design of this new E61. So the TCA, that stands for Temperature Control Adjustment, and that's how this machine actually regulates temperature. So it's still a heat exchanger, just like the original Apartmento, but with that NTC probe inside the boiler, it connects to a controller that actually allows you to use the brew lever and essentially change the temperatures for your extractions. I would say for the most part on a machine like this one, because you're not getting that degree by degree control, what you're really going to benefit from is the ability to change your steaming pressures, right? Because for the most part, my recommendation is on a machine like this one where your control is more limited, I would say you're going to be making a lot of milk drinks. Probably try to aim for that more consistent 200-degree extraction range and then just froth milk as you need to.
Yeah, and this machine really holds up to that steam power too. We've taken it to events. If you've seen our blogs, we actually took it to a bike shop as well, and put out quite a few different drinks for those involved in the ride. So I think it did a fantastic job keeping up with anything that we actually threw at it.
Yeah, and what's really cool is not only does this machine have the same group as the fast machines, it also has the same boiler as well. So when it comes to that steaming performance, you are getting the same capacity, the same orientation of the boiler. Rocket, I think, does very, very well. So let's actually just pull a shot, though, and see. We may not be perfectly dialed in, but
we'll see how far we can actually go.
Take it. So let's just wing it for a moment here and just see what we get.
All right, so I have some bigger scales over here too. So we do have a couple different Varia scales as well that we're going to be using. This one's going to be the regular Accu scale, which I do typically like to kind of weigh out my portafilter in general too. Just kind of get a rough estimate of what we're pulling right now.
And if you're watching during Black Friday, like I said, we actually do have several gifts with purchase and giveaways. So for some machines, you'll actually be grabbing one of these guys. This is the Brewista X Series scale. And then we also have the Varia Accu scale. So again, Varia Accu here, and then the Brewista X Series, and some of my favorites, Accu Mini right there as well. And so what are we looking at for our dose here, Zach?
We're going to go for about 17 grams or so. So this is going to be a rough estimate right now.
Yeah, and so we're just going to be demoing, obviously, this flow paddle and flow control.
And the tamper station is actually on your side over there with that new Wiedemann tamper station.
This is the Wiedemann tamper station. We're also demoing some Bravo tools today. So this is the Bravo mini tamper, Bravo basically equipment organizer here, and the Bravo leveler. Tools used, the Bravo leveler at least, by World Barista Champion Borum.
Yeah, in fact, I'll probably bring that out front just so we can get a closer look at these. I think they're a great construction as well. You can actually control the level of which your portafilter sits, so you can actually get it nice and flush, and you can just sit, do all of your puck prep on here, use all of your Wiedemann tools, which go really nicely with the stand itself. I think it's a nice compact form there. Yeah. Bravo tools as well, something that we kind of are tried and true trusty tools, especially when dialing in on our first shot and being very consistent throughout the day.
So I see Persepolis also says nice haircut. I'm sure he's talking about me, but
one of us.
Basically, one of the things I really like about these smart scales too is obviously the timer. So the Apartmento TCA does not have a built-in timer on it, so we're just going to use the scale here. So we'll start the timer. And we're just going to do a low flow pre-infusion to start. Got our gauge, we're building up, and then we'll increase.
And we're actually getting a pretty decent start. And I think a lot of that has to do with the E37S over here. Again, with those Wiedemann accents. This one's really easy to dial in because as soon as you kind of figure out what kind of grind size that you need for your specific coffee, these numbers are something that you can actually recall to. So being at this 1.5 point, as soon as you have it zeroed out, you can kind of recall to that pretty often for most espressos.
Cheers, Zach.
Cheers.
First shot of the day.
First shot of the day.
And honestly, really not that bad. I would say for something like this, it's really great to have a flow paddle or a flow control. And part of the reason that I really like the flow paddle too is, I don't know if you noticed, I was able to get basically 4 fingers in there to give me really, really precise control for when I want to make my adjustments. Whereas if you're using the ball, the stem here gets really, really hot. And the idea behind this, not to say that the wood also doesn't get a little toasty, but you have much more control for when you want to make those very delicate adjustments. And honestly, it's almost great that we didn't dial in too much, because the flow control paddle, one of the benefits to it is if you're busy in the morning, let's say, and you don't have time to dial in and you do want to just make a shot and get out the door, being able to adjust the flow rate is something that's really, really beneficial. So that's, if you're looking for flow paddles, we have them on a number of our machines now. This is the prototype version, but we actually also have a paddle now in plastic too. So we originally had them just with wood, but if you don't see a plastic flow paddle on a machine that you're interested in, contact a member of our sales team. We will be expanding that and opening that up for more and more options. Let's just talk about the TCA real quick before we move on. But yeah, so this again is the Wiedemann accenting here, and this is our custom white with copper. We'll rotate the machine so that you can see that just a little bit better. And then Zach, you have something fun right there from Wiedemann as well.
I do, and one thing that I really like about Wiedemann is that you can kind of customize anything that you want within a whole bunch of different machines. So not only is the flow control both form and function, we can actually then match it too quickly and efficiently with these little wooden accents as well.
Yes. So these are magnetic, they just stick on, and basically you can plug them right in as opposed to putting a whole pan. So you're gonna really bug me.
I'm gonna do a sideways grain.
The grain is.
I knew you were gonna notice right away.
I was gonna say if I put them on, I would make them perfect. But as you just showed, very easy to rotate as well, so that you can very quickly just adjust them again. And so if you're looking to go all in with Wiedemann, which I would say, why wouldn't you be going all in with Wiedemann? You can actually get accents that basically match all of your tools, whether it be a tamper or a WDT tool, a tamping station. We've pretty much got everything you could want for your machine. We've got some really cool new tampers called the V-Decent that we'll be talking about in a later stream as well. But yeah, so basically you can make the Apartmento of your dreams, more or less. We've got, if you go to some of the variants. We've got 12 different panel insert colors that you can choose from. We've got also 3 different body housings. There you go. That's a perfect one. Thank you there, Mike. So that's a Apartamento TCA with black. We've got olive wood that's being shown right now. We had walnut as well. Do you have any of the colors for me too, Mike, if you could? If not, it's okay, but you know, we'll demo that. But there's the white again that we're taking a look at. Will the Soleil have the new flow control system? So Persepolis, Betzera is compatible with our new flow paddles. Their flow control device is compatible. So if you want a Betzera espresso machine with the flow paddle, give us a call. We would be happy to get you set up with that. And then later on, that will be available just natively on the website as well.
Yeah, our sales team can be very helpful with that sort of thing, especially when finding those kinds of dream machines. So.
Oh, I think Andrew is saying let's just get the let's get that laptop out of here.
Yes.
We had that. I was going to give you a little tour. It looks like on hold for now, perhaps. So
Andrew assisting today.
Sorry. Shout out to Mike and Andrew, who we have behind the camera there. Maybe we'll get a Grace cameo, maybe not. Who's to say?
Which you actually see within our website, all the beautiful photos that we're taking on both social media. If you aren't following us, definitely do. We've done some beautiful shoots to really see these machines inside their kind of natural environment, inside houses, apartments, right where you want to see it.
Yeah, and so just to touch on that a little bit more with the update, we obviously get a lot of feedback and we listen to what people are asking for when it comes to the website. The recent updates that we have made have been focused on making things easier to find, really showcasing that photography as well, and really showing off the variety of products that you can choose from. So you'll find now that when you're searching for items or when you're browsing our collections, the options that are available will be visible for you to actually interact with and click on so that you can see if there are other ways to customize the machine. And we're going to be implementing even more stuff like that. The articles, like Zach mentioned, we've come out with a new article every week this year. So if you read them, kudos to you. But we've got some beautiful photography in there, some really great insights into new products, new recipes, new ways to brew with the coffee that you have or the equipment that you have. So definitely recommend checking that out, and it's just making it, you know, easier than ever to find exactly what you're looking for on our website.
Yeah, and I think that was the huge thing for me, is being able to find the exact machine for my apartment, especially, you know, cycling through different machines and testing them out.
Right.
What kind of wood accents do I want? How would it look inside my apartment? Now you can really just, you know, use our bundler and see exactly how it's going to look. And then having that choice to be able to quickly choose what kind of color options and customize more so than anywhere else on any other site, right there at your fingertips.
Well, and especially on machines too, like the Gaja Classic, for example, where you've got 9 different color options and then an additional 4 wood options on top of that. The amount of personalization that you can actually do for your machine is incredible. So with that, though, I would just say check out the website. We had a lot of really talented people put a lot of very hard work into making it as cool as it is right now, especially a little shout out to Jacqueline Salzman and Ellie who worked on it. So I'm going to be working on a piece talking a little bit about that process, so definitely check out those articles, like I said. So Zach, let's move on to our other machine that we have here. This is the ECM Mechanica Max. This is our exclusive matte black. And then we also have some Vitamin accents on here as well. So this is olive wood. We had walnut on the TCA, but we've got olive wood here. And then you'll notice we actually have, this is one of our black chrome Silenzio 55s with, of course, a Vitamin lid as well. So you'll find most of our grinders do have lids. So whether it's Chiato, Eureka, we've got wood lids actually for Rocket's own stuff, ECM, Profitec. You can find wood lids for your grinder that will match your machine. So Mechanica Max, though, this is a really, really exceptional machine. You know, I would say like probably the best heat exchanger on the market at the moment in terms of its total functionality. And then Zach, what else do we have on here?
So we also have our Pressensor on here. So again, when we're talking about that form and function of the new flow control, you might as well be able to track what you're doing. And this kind of gives you that at your fingertips and on your phone. So if you are messing around with different kinds of shots, or maybe you had that kind of shot that you messed up in the morning and all of a sudden you're like, oh, what was that? You can actually you can now recall that, and it can actually give you a map and date back to that actual recipe that you used, so you can follow along and you can see it in real time on your phone, iPad, whatever you have at home.
That's right. And so having something too like the Pressensor combined with the flow paddle for that greater precision of adjustment, that is going to allow you to really get a much more stable curve. I know you and Mark did a little competition to see which of the two of you was maybe a little more accurate when it came to following that line there. And
correct.
I would say something like the flow control paddle is really going to be a game changer when it comes to that kind of precision that you would want. So yeah, just to talk a little bit about the Mechanica Max though. This is what we would call a smart heat exchanger. I'm gonna give Zach a second just so I'm not competing with the grinder there.
Luckily, it's super fast.
But a smart heat exchanger is basically a heat exchanger that allows you to control for the temperature of your brew water. Now, most heat exchanger espresso machines, you're going to have a boiler that's getting heated for a specific temperature controlled by a PID, but then obviously that brew water is being heated passively by the surrounding steam and by the hot water in the boiler. Now, on our Mechanica Max, in the actual thermosiphon line is an additional PID that you can use to look at the actual temperature in there. So some joker here set this machine to Celsius, but I am going to get us to Fahrenheit. And we're going to go in and just change that for a moment.
Maybe it was on purpose. You never know.
Entirely possible. So give me a minute here. Actually, oh, that's for pre-infusion. Okay, we'll let that set for a moment and then we'll keep going here. But this machine has a lot that it can do. And so basically, one of the things that we actually can do is have the machine either actively control the temperature inside this boiler for our brew temperature, or we can have it control for our steam temperature. In this case, I'll just leave it in Celsius for now. I'd have to access the additional programming menu. But you'll notice too, we have T1, that's brew temperature, we have T2, that's steam temperature. And so basically, it's because there are two PID probes in here, and that's what allows us to actually have the machine tell us what temperature we're looking at and whether we want to control for one temperature or the other. So it has a ability to adjust the heating of the boiler to try and achieve more consistent results for brew water or not. And that's really kind of where that smart heat exchanger comes in. So Zach, I'll have you go ahead and pull us a shot there. And it looks like you've got some cups.
Yes, and one cool thing about our new AccuPro scales is that they do connect to this Pressensor as well. So if you had questions of like, oh, well, how does it track? Well, it connects to your Bluetooth scale from there. So it's a very smart way to really upgrade your machine quickly and efficiently.
Yeah. So Zach, these are our Pico cups from Not Neutral. We've got their Pacific and their, I believe that's sage color.
Yeah.
Right? So some nice blue and green. Pacific just available now at Whole Latte Love. We saw those earlier this year back at the SCA show. So go ahead and hit the pump there.
All right, we're going to do a slow pre-infusion here, and we're going to start ramping up there. As we can see, we started out a little fast, so I'm actually going to ramp down a little bit too.
Yeah, and so this being a rotary pump machine, we definitely have higher total flow. So between these two machines, obviously, you would dial them a little different.
Correct.
But
and then we had a 20-second shot, so we'll see how that compares to our other shot over there.
Yeah, but this is our Crema Wave as well, so very nice medium roast espresso. A crowd pleaser, I would say, but we'll go in and...
And a great thing that you can do with that flow control is that the shots taste completely different.
Yeah.
I know some people would be like, oh, well, what's the real purpose of trying to do that, like slow ramp up and a ramp down and pull it in 20 seconds in comparison to just kind of pulling your heat exchanger pre-infusion straight up shot. They do taste completely different. This one I'm getting a lot of sweetness actually.
A lot of sweetness. It's a lot juicier. I would say Crema Wave actually can have some pleasant acidity depending on how you extract. Gonna make a little baby Kano for myself here, just a little bit of hot water out of there.
And that's why I would say that this is one of the best heat exchangers out here too. It feels like a dual boiler in so many ways.
Yes, it really does feel like a dual boiler. And so for those of you who are watching and kind of wondering, is this the kind of machine for me or not? A lot of times when you're buying a heat exchanger espresso machine, I would ask the question, you know, what kind of coffee do you want to be brewing with? So if you're getting a heat exchanger, you're obviously going to be making milk drinks regularly. Otherwise you wouldn't need the steam, right? But then when it comes to the selection of coffees, that's where you really need to start thinking about, am I going to be investing in a high-grade specialty coffee that needs a little bit more temperature precision, or am I going to be going with something more consistent but maybe a little bit less challenging, right?
Yeah, and this machine really gives the consumer an option too of like, okay, I like to get into those crazy coffees. Maybe I'm not quite into it yet, but I do have the ability over time to start getting into that. But maybe I'm starting off with crema wave and then getting into some funky like co-ferments or something as well.
Yeah, co-ferments are obviously kind of the trending coffee right now.
Correct.
I don't know if I would say they're the IPAs of coffee at the moment, but I definitely remember when people were first getting into IPAs and you saw them everywhere. So
yeah.
I feel a little bit
Very
like
similar.
that about co-ferment, but yeah, I mean the fact that we have a heat exchanger that actually actively can control for brew water temperature is something that you really just don't see on other machines. Now, that's not to say that you can't put a PID on another heat exchanger and maintain consistency of temperature, but it's still not going to be as accurate and it's not going to be regulating for that particular temperature.
Correct, yeah. So with this one, I think it's going to be a great option for those who kind of want that smaller, compact form function of a heat exchanger that you might not find with a dual boiler, because it does come with size when you upgrade to a dual boiler, but you're going to get a lot of that same functionality off of this. So I feel like anyone getting the Mechanica Max thinking that they're going to regret not getting a dual boiler, I don't think that you're going to have that sort of thought. And especially inside this new matte black, the drip tray, I'm obsessed with. I love that it's just a fully black, matte black drip tray within here as well.
See, I've been locked out from additional functions. That's what's going on here.
It's a brand new machine, that's why.
Otherwise, I would get us into the advanced menu for a moment. But yeah, I mean, couldn't give you quite the demo I wanted in terms of some of our new features on the website. But, Zach, I think we're probably good to wrap for now then, and then we'll be moving on to our next segment, which is going to be super automatics. That's going to be with Mark and with Todd. So again, if you're joining us now, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, we've got some really great deals going on. Our CoffeeCast service as well. If you haven't tried that out yet, any of the machines or things that you've seen up here today, you can connect with a live member of our sales team to get a live video demo. We also have a Barista Assist service where you can get some of our coffee experts to actually help you dial in. What do you think about the Profitec Move from JC Legend? So, JC, the Profitec Move is a really, really good machine. I would say you can certainly make milk drinks with it, but if you're looking to get a machine that is a true steam beast, I would probably spend a little bit more money and go up to something like the Profitec Ride or the Drive. Now, the Move, where it really helps you is, it's essentially got the same boiler as the Profitec Go. So, small brass boiler regulated by a PID. You don't have any kind of flow control, but there is quite a bit of pre-infusion programming that you can do. So you can set an active time, you can set a soak time, and then you can also set your extraction time, right? So on the Profitec Move, especially if you're the kind of person, let's say that you like milk drinks, but maybe you're primarily brewing espresso, right? You can have just the brew boiler heat up in just about 6 minutes and pull those shots, and then still, let's say that you do have company coming over, or you do like those milk drinks, you can have that secondary boiler turned on. The only thing that I would mention is just that the overall steam power on that machine is a little bit lower, and that's strictly because you do have less space. It's a more compact machine. So I definitely think that the Move is, I mean, first of all, it's super popular, so you don't necessarily have to take my opinion for it. But it's a great machine if you're looking to experiment with specialty coffees. It's a great machine if you are going to try a lot of different kinds of coffees. It can brew and steam at the same time, so you can make really good milk drinks, but it just won't have the same endurance for steam as some of the other models that are available on the market.
Yeah, and that's what it really comes down to. Are you making simultaneous drinks? I think it can do the job because of how fast it can heat up, but there is going to be time in between where you're just kind of waiting for that temperature to hit. It does hit that temperature fast, but if you're really looking for making a lot of drinks and really catering, that's when you're starting to look at, again, the Mechanica Max.
Yes.
For that simultaneous drink ability, I mean, or the TCA, or starting to get into your dual boilers as well.
Right, exactly. Because the other thing, too, to remember is when you do have a smaller boiler like that, it is going to cool off as you're brewing. So you are replacing that hot water with new water from the reservoir, and so when you have less total capacity and lower thermal mass, you do want to give it a little bit of time to recover between extractions to really benefit from that PID regulation as well.
Also, with that said, though, it does have a function that a lot of other machines don't, where you do have the ability to control that time. So you can actually just, at a press of a button, the same exact shot that maybe your significant other dialed in that morning, you can walk up to the machine, press the same button, and it'll pull the same shot.
Well, and for that matter, too, if you were single dosing, for example, because each of the two buttons on the Move can be programmed with unique times, yes, but also unique pre-infusion, you could have a completely different initial pre-infusion on one button versus the other. So if you're single dosing and swapping, you could, instead of having it be single double, let's say, you could have one button for a particular origin and then a different button for a different origin.
Correct, and we even have that machine inside our kitchen right now, so that does have to say something that we can handle a lot of drinks on that machine, and each one is dialed into a different coffee.
So, DDGNYC, best dual pot and K-cup coffee maker. So I'm not really sure what you mean by dual pot. And then as far as K-cups go, so if you were looking for something like that, I would steer you toward probably a super automatic espresso machine.
Yeah.
So K-cups, obviously, you're getting locked into a particular format of pre-ground coffee, and then you do have a limitation when it comes to what coffees are available. A super automatic espresso machine, and you're going to see more conversation about that in our upcoming stream. That's going to give you the ability to grind and brew with any whole beans that you can find, and that's where not only do you have more variety in terms of the kinds of coffee that you can brew, but you're also going to be getting fresher coffee because it's being ground fresh every time that you start extracting. And so if you're looking for something that can make that full cup of coffee, that's where a machine, say maybe like our Gaja, Cadorna, or Magenta series with a coffee option and with also an Americano option are really going to be getting you better coffee and ultimately saving you a lot of money too, because when you look at over time the costs of owning and operating a machine and buying and grinding whole beans fresh versus a capsule format, you can have that machine paid off in as little as a year depending on what initial choice you make. So my recommendation would be to take a look, probably if you're looking to kind of get in at a more entry-level price, the Gaja Cadorna style is an incredible machine. You've got a Panarello wand that you can froth milk with very easily, but then you can also adapt Gaja's auto-frothing Cappuccino system onto that as well very easily, simply by sliding it on there. And then right there, you have on-demand milk drinks, and you can store that carafe in the refrigerator when you're done. And again, you get that Americano. And as we've teased in a couple of our videos so far, we also have the over ice feature coming to those machines. And so I do think that it's really going to be best value pretty much that you can find in the
Now, it sounds expensive too, but it really is a great price, especially right now on Black Friday. There's a lot of free gifts with purchase. And this is kind of like the time to really get into that super auto. So if you are kind of questioning that, this is kind of like the time to really pull the trigger on that, because it is kind of the best deals that we have ever had, really, for these super autos.
Well, and just worth mentioning too that all of the Gaja super automatic machines are made in Italy as well, in Gaggio Montano, which is a small little township in Italy. All their manufacturing moved back there around, I want to say 2015, but BB Coach, I was also looking at the Profitect Move comparing to the Lily Elizabeth and Gaja Classic GT to replace my old Breville dual boiler. We typically do 2 lattes in the AM. So my recommendation, BB Coach, in that case would be to really take a look at that Gaja Classic GT.
And we are actually going to have these machines on a live stream later today as well.
Yes.
So we will have a drive, we'll have a move, we'll have a couple different machines that you'll see throughout the day, and then even pairing those with what kind of grinders that you want to be using with it.
So I mean, I would just say, so like if we're gonna do an apples to apples comparison, Move Elizabeth GT, from a build quality standpoint in terms of the housing, I would say the Profitect Move definitely kind of wins for me just in terms of aesthetics. You do have wood accenting, and then you also have a design that it's supposed to be paired with machines like, or grinders like the Profitect Twist, where you can get something that's kind of all in the family. The Elizabeth, I think the issue is that the panels and the seams are just a little too, the panels are a little narrow, the seams are a little, sharp, basically where they come together. So you just want to be a little careful with that so things can feel a little bit thinner. The Classic GT is a very rugged machine. The housing is super thick. It reminds me of the old Expo Bar machines we used to carry. But in terms of comparing the three of them, first of all, the steam performance, I would say on the Classic GT, Mark was able to basically leave the valve open for about 5 minutes and get continuous steam pressure. And the machine has a second pump that's used just to refill the boiler. Now, when it comes to brewing performance, the reason that I like the GT the best is that it does have the low flow pre-infusion function. So you can press and hold a switch to achieve a 3 gram per second pre-infusion. And there's also programmed pre-infusion cycles for light, medium, and dark roast coffees that are going to hit you with an initial phase of pre-infusion, a soak phase, and then your extraction, obviously. Now, you might say the Lily Elizabeth does have a pre-infusion feature that you can accomplish by having the steam boiler turned on. And I would say, yes, you can do that, but then in order for you to achieve that pre-infusion just for your coffee brewing, let's say that you don't want to turn the steam boiler on, at that point, you do need to actually heat up that boiler because what's happening is you're using the pressure from the steam boiler to pre-infuse the coffee. And so that's just something to think about, right? Because that is a feature that a lot of people really like. And if you have the machine and you turn it on, you give it the time to warm up, you can do that. But with the GT, if you're looking just for that espresso, for example, you can turn that on. You don't need the steam boiler on, and then you still have that low flow pre-infusion that's going to allow you to basically pull those shots with that very low flow saturation. So other things too, just like the externally accessible OPV, I think are really good. And then, the GT may be a little more limited in terms of the exact degree by degree steam temperature adjustment, or the fact that you have 1 programmable volume versus 2. But I would say in general, when it comes to espresso brewing and the flavor of your coffee, that one is going to be my pick.
Yeah, my pick would definitely be the GT, I would say. Again, you kind of have that ease of a press button sort of machine, but you can definitely go in, customize these pre-infusions kind of however you want. Very specific temperatures too. I find it just very capable in keeping that temperature for pre-infusions and also just setting that kind of starting point too. We discussed it a little bit on previous streams when we were actually doing just drip coffees, that just the consistency of these temperatures really matter. So I think with the GT, the consistent temperatures on that has my pick.
So I see interesting comment from Sourpuss Candy. I know it might sound retro, but can I get a pressurized basket, 20 grams for E61? So 20 grams, I don't think so. I feel like the biggest pressurized basket I've seen that we carry is maybe like 14, you could overdose to maybe 16 grams. But the short answer is yes. So Gaja actually, on their classic E24 and the previous Gaja classics before that, have pressurized baskets that you use in conjunction with something called a two-way pin. And so you can purchase the pin from us. You can also purchase the pressurized basket. But basically, when you have that pressure going straight down in that really intense stream of water or coffee, if you don't have a diffuser pin in there, it's going to hit the bottom of the spouts and just explode outward. So if you get yourself a two-way pin and you also get yourself that pressurized basket, you can pretty much adapt any E61 style portafilter into a pressurized portafilter.
Yeah, because it's just a standard 58.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
And if you wind up picking up a pod style basket or single style pressurized basket, you can do that as well, and you can ultimately brew pods on your machine. We had people do that a lot in the past. However you want to brew your espresso at home is honestly up to you. So whatever works best. But yeah, there's definitely a solution for that. And then for your other question, we do have single dosing options on the way for ECM ProfTech. Don't have an exact date for that, but those are coming for ECM and ProfTech's grinders, single dose hoppers and bellows. So just keep your eyes peeled because that is coming hopefully before the end of the year. So really great questions, guys. So if you've got any more, keep them coming. We can definitely go for a few more minutes, and then we'll be getting ready to hand the torch off to Mark and then Todd, who has not appeared on a stream for a little while. So
yeah,
I think
it's
that's
been a long time.
Very exciting.
Yeah. So Todd, I know, is going to be very happy to answer any questions too. So for any of our tech enthusiasts out there, I would definitely have those questions on deck for Todd in case you have any questions about any internals of any machines that are kind of coming out to market, especially the two behind us and the Gaja GT, which
I was going to say, I feel Todd will be more than happy to talk to you about the Gaja Classic GT.
That is his baby. He loves that machine. I think that also says something for itself that, a tech of long-standing like Todd just loves the GT inside and out.
That's right. Our other surprise. So Zach, let me disappear for a moment and I'll be right back.
Yeah, so we are making a few different updates to the site, and one thing that Nick is actually bringing over right now is going to be a really fun update to a couple things that we're looking at. Again, if you are just tuning into us right now, we're going to be live streaming all day, so if you have any questions, please feel free to let us know. It looks like we have another question here. Will the Chiato Rev steel grinder have wood lids? Yes, in fact, most grinders that we do have, including Chiato, we do have nice Wiedemann wood accent lids. They have a really nice fit as well. They're all kind of tested, hand signed off that they are going to fit each one of our grinders as well. So looks like we have our surprise joining us now.
That's right. And machine that you've probably seen before, but
different. In fact, there's something on its face.
That's right. So, I'm gonna tease you with this for now. I'm afraid you'll have to ask politely in the comments, and then maybe we can give you a little demo later. But we are very pleased to now be offering the if you want to take care of that for me, Zach.
Yeah, I'm just gonna.
We're very pleased to be offering the Rancilio Silvia with PID. So this is a Auber Instruments PID temperature controller. We're selling a version of this that will allow you to adjust brew temperature, steam temperature, and a 3-phase pre-infusion that involves active wetting, soaking, and then your extraction. So really cool, really exciting, just in time for the holidays as well. So check that out. But I feel like I couldn't have ended this segment without just a little tease for everyone out there.
I'm so excited about this one, especially when paired with the new sage green. It's kind of what I want in my house.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And then Persepolis, will the Chiato Rev steel have wood kits? So
we actually just went over that.
Oh, yeah. Perfect. Yeah, it's the same hoppers as the E37
right
series.
Yep.
So, yes, anything that we have from Wiedemann. Now, whether or not there will be additional wood components, say for maybe the Align knob, I couldn't say for sure, but I would say there's a non-zero chance.
Yeah, definitely a possibility there.
All right. Well, guys, thank you for hanging with us and for all of your great questions. We love answering them, so definitely stay tuned throughout the course of the day. We've got a lot of cool stuff coming up. Next up, we're going over some of our favorite super automatic espresso machines, including one of my favorites, the Jura X10, which, have the X8 that we sold locally. Very big fan of that. I think you and I did a stream on the X10 before last year. So,
we did, yep.
It's one of my favorites for a reason. It's an incredible value for a workplace unit. One of the few plumbable super automatics that we have.
Yeah, which I'm surprised there aren't more of, but that one does such a good job that I have no worries about there not being more.
That's right. All right. Well, everybody, I'm Nick.
I'm Zach.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
See ya.